What's up, everyone? This is KillerVzTwo, and this is another episode of Gun Mistakes. Today, we'll be talking about Far Cry 4. It's a great game, a ton of guns. In fact, the gun mistakes for this game will be broken into two different videos. Not necessarily because there's so many mistakes with the guns, but more so just because there's so many guns. And in fact, I mean, there are probably half a dozen, probably more than that, of guns that I honestly didn't see any mistakes in their implementation. Well, I shouldn't say any mistakes, because in fact here in a second I will get to things I kind of see overall, and then we'll get into the individual guns. But this will be a two-parter, and well, obviously this is the first part. So to start out, like I said, I would like to discuss problems overall. Starting with, and this is the most predominant mistake in any video game I've played, is the +1 in the chamber. When a gun still has ammo in the magazine, you take a magazine out and put another magazine in, there is now a additional round chambered in the gun. So theoretically, if a gun holds 30 rounds, you empty 5 of them, let's say. You take the mag out, put another mag in, you should now have 31, because there's 30 in the new magazine you put in, plus there's still 1 chambered in the gun. That's something in 97.6% of games I've played. And if you're wondering what that other 2.4% is, or whatever, I don't even remember what I just said, but whatever. Tom Clancy games, specifically the Rainbow Six Vegas games, both of those have just absolutely phenomenal gun animations, reload animations, firing. Even the sounds of them are amazing, and they actually have the +1 in the chamber feature. So I mean, if you're looking for just the absolute peak of what I look to compare everything to as far as how guns work in games, look no further than those games. What else to get to? Suppressor attachments in this. Obviously, I'm going to assume this was for gameplay balancing. Not every gun can be suppressed, but it's very arbitrary, it seems. Some of the guns are guns that would normally come already threaded for a suppressor, so you can screw it right on, but some of the guns that let you put on a suppressor are not guns you can readily buy factory with suppressor threadings around the barrel. So that's a little arbitrary. Again, this is very nitpicky stuff, but in my opinion, if you're going to have suppressors, either let all guns be suppressed or keep it to the guns that are already threaded for suppressors. Another thing is iron sights. And this is kind of a twofer here. Many, and this is also another thing I see in many games, the user, the avatar, the person you're playing as, the main protagonist in the game, doesn't always use iron sights correctly. Whether it be a shotgun, little bead at the end of the barrel, or a peep sight, what have you. It's not always lined up properly. There's a billion different kind of iron sights, so I'm not going to get into it, but I'll probably throw up, I'm doing the audio right now, I'll probably throw up, show you using him. Yeah, that wasn't even English. What was that? I will show you the avatar using the M133 shotgun, and how the BB is way up in the air. You can see the whole barrel. You want the BB just to be resting, flat on the gun. All you want to see is the BB. So let's move on from that. SMG mag capacity. Again, I'm going to chalk this up to them balancing the game a bit, but 90% of the SMGs in this, whether they be machine pistols or full-on SMG two-handed, so most of them have, for some reason, a 24-round magazine capacity, despite what they actually should have, whether it's normally a 30 or a 20 or like 24-round magazines. In all of the guns I checked, did some actual backup looking, aside from general knowledge, at least non-custom gunsmith made, you don't get 24-round magazines. Machine pistols are generally 20 or 30. Submachine guns are generally 30. Granted, you can get lower capacity 21s or higher, but just 24 is an odd one, and the fact that so many of the guns in this game have 24. let's see. Next up, universal ammo. In this game, again, balancing, you know, but assault rifles use assault rifle ammo, pistols use pistol ammo. That's just not a thing. You know, pistols can come in a wide variety, and even in the game are a wide variety. You got 357s, you've got 9mm, you've got 45 ACPs, 44 Magnums, 50 Action Express, a few more that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but that's all considered pistol ammo. Again, game balancing, it's fine, but I want to be as nitpicky as possible. You know, every little detail matters. And there are games that do this. Again, for instance, just off the top of my head, random example, DayZ. You find a 45 1911, guess what? You can't be using 9mm you found. Find a 9mm, you can't be popping 45s in it. You know, same thing with rifles. You can't pop a 30-06 into a 223. So again, you know, give examples of games that do these right. You know, games that kind of spoil my, you know, perception of how guns can act in games. And lastly, as far as everything goes, extended mag textures, I guess we'll call them. Some guns that you put the extended mag texture on or attachment gives a different texture. Some of them turn into drum mag. Some of them are just, you know, the extended stick magazines. Extended stick box magazine, you know, whatever you want to call them. But some of them do not change. I think the Vector 45 ACP doesn't. Various pistols do not. You know, you don't get the extended mag out the bottom. So just something that doesn't really change with the attachment. So let's get into the individual guns. Like I said, I covered some of the all-around things here. So this video will have a couple less guns in it than the next one, but let's get to it. Start with the Mark IV revolver. Its real-life counterpart is actually the Mark VI Webley. You know, it's a British revolver, single action, so that's good that, you know, he has to cock it every time you shoot it. But here's some problems. A, the brass. Well, actually, this is a fairly well put together gun, so really there's only one problem, but it's the brass. When reloading, whether you shoot one shot or all 6 of them, when he empties the gun, the brass flying out, none of them have bullets in them. So, I mean, you know, again, being nitpicky, that's probably would be a pain to put into the game, but as you'll see, and in fact in the next video, I will bring up the best working gun in the game, but that's something to look forward to later. But that's the problem with the Mark IV. Next up, we have the 44 Magnum, real life counterpart, the Smith & Wesson 629, double action 44 Magnum. Again, really the only problem with this one is the brass. Same thing, when you empty the gun out, whether you shot 1 or all 6, the brass that falls out of the gun is always empty, despite there should still be some perfectly functional, you know, rounds completely left. Another thing is this gun, and I've seen many people, the barrel randomly disappears, and it's actually pretty funny, but, you know, that's a glitch. That's a glitch, not a failure of understanding how firearms work. So, let's see, next on the list is the D50, which, as many of you probably already know, is the IMI Desert Eagle in real life. And according to this, I'm going to go with this, it's labeled in-game as D50, which I'm going to assume means it uses 50 caliber Action Express, which is, you know, something the most common in movies and video games you see the Desert Eagle being fired in, even though technically it was originally made for 357 Magnum, if you did not know that. But I digress. 2 problems with this one. A, wrong magazine capacity. If this is truly a 50 caliber Action Express, it should have 7 rounds and not 8. The second problem is the wrong hammer position. When this gun is firing, the hammer is in some sort of half-cocked position that it can't even get into in real life. So it's almost, you'd have to like get something stuck or messed up in there. Basically what I'm saying is the gun would not fire. The hammer is not back into firing position, that when you pull the trigger it releases, hits the firing pin, and the gun goes off. So the gun is pretty much useless, but it still works in the game. Next up we have the MP34, which is the real life counterpart to the MP34. Same name. This one. This one is a pretty big mistake. This one in the game fires from a closed bolt, which if you don't know what that means is the you can see on the side is the charging handle. That's in a forward position. When it fires, the bolt comes back and the brass comes out and the bolt goes forward again. Tat tat tat. But in real life, it's open bolt. That means the gun, when you pull the trigger, that bolt slides forward, putting a round into the chamber. The gun goes off, sending the hammer back again, and the shell flying out. As you can see, it's reversed here. It's a closed bolt. So that's a pretty big one. Next up, we have the MP5. Again, real life counterpart is the MP5. I'm not entirely sure of the model. This is kind of a mutt with the stock and the different iron sights, so I couldn't really nail down a specific model, but that doesn't really matter. You can get all kinds of attachments and stuff for them. So whether it's an MP5A or A3, A2, MP5, it's not an MP5 SD, but that's out there too. This one has some pretty big problems as well. Again, with the charging handle. As you can see, when it fires, the handle up on the front left of the gun comes back with every shot. That does not happen in actual use of the gun. It just stays completely, why am I blanking on a word? Stationary. It stays stationary. And the other thing, again, with the charging handle, this is problem B, is it should not lock open. When you do a full emptying of the gun, that charging handle is now up in the locked position. You have to manually do that. Again, same with pulling it back to eject around. You have to manually use that. That charging handle does not move during normal use of the firearm. Next up, we have the A2000. Real life counterpart is the Agram 2000. So basically the same thing. But here, as you can see, when emptying the gun or unloading the gun, there's always a bullet in the magazine, even when you empty a complete magazine. You can pull it to all, 30 or so rounds are in there, and when he pulls it out, you can still see a bullet in it. So that shouldn't happen. Next up, we have the Vector 45 ACP. Real life counterpart is the Chris Vector. Again, here's something with the magazine and bullets in it. He always puts in an empty mag. Whenever it's just whether it's completely unloaded, you shoot a couple rounds, you empty. When you're reloading, he's putting in an empty magazine, which should go without saying, would not shoot because there are no bullets. So, bit of a problem. Next up, we have the BZ-19, which is the counterpart to the Bison. I think it's Bison, but it's a Russian gun. Bison SMG. And honestly, this gun works pretty much fine. So you're probably asking why I have it in here. Well, if you haven't noticed, it's left-handed, which, you might be thinking, oh, that's not a problem, except that every single Bison gun you pick up in this game is left-handed, and I find it very hard to believe that Pagan Min, bad guy in this game, supplied his entire military force with left-handed weapons. That seems rather counterproductive. Granted, he is a complete douchebag, but yeah. Maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not, maybe, I don't know, maybe in one of the letters scattered throughout the game, he's talking about how he got all of his men left-handed guns. To be honest, find that letter, send it to me. I will gladly come out, do a video about how I screwed that up. But until then, having every gun in the game be left-handed, that's a mistake. Someone screwed up a texture model or reversed it somehow. Next up, we have the 1887. Real-life counterpart is the Winchester Model 1887, and ever since Call of Duty, I believe it was Modern Warfare 2, this gun has some sort of contract that it has to be in every goddamn video game ever made, despite being a gun from goddamn 1887. But I guess I'll talk about it since it's in this goddamn video game. I'm saying goddamn it a lot, but this gun should not be in video games. I don't understand it, but it is, and let's see, what did they mess up with it? Here, 2 mistakes. A, the capacity. They hold 5, whether it's the 12 gauge version or the 10 gauge. There's no way to tell in the game which one it is, but it doesn't matter. Both guns in real life, they hold 5 in the tube. In this game, I believe it holds 7. So there, too many shells in it. The second problem is, when you go to reload it with shells still in it, when he pops it open, a shell should fly out. He's opening the action. A shell does not fly out, and he just pops in the rounds that he wants to fill it with. So there's 2 problems right there, and this gun should just disappear. I don't care if it was in the Mummy, okay? Let it die. It's not a good... No one in their right mind would be using this in real life. I'm sorry, but it's dumb. Ugh, okay, and that brings us... This is the last gun in this video. Figured we'd end on another gun that for some reason has a contract, though this one makes a little more sense. This is the AK-47. Has to be in every video game ever as well. However, this gun is actually, a well-made gun, very sturdy, still in military use today, so I mean that can make sense. In the game it's called an AK-47. This is another one where it's kind of hard to identify exactly what model it is, so I just have it written here. It is an AK-47 variant or knockoff. I'm gonna go with a knockoff. Based on some of the, it has like the synthetic parts of like an AK-103, but it has still wooden foregrip and stock, and I'm gonna say it's some sort of Chinese knockoff. Not sure exactly what model, but the Chinese are famous for making knockoffs of these guns. But let's get to specific problems with it. Is really just empty mag. He's again loading it with an empty mag. That you gotta put bullets in your gun if you want it to shoot. I can say that with experience. I have accidentally loaded in empty magazines into guns, and guess what? No bullets come out. Magic. But I think that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. That's why I'm here, to have fun and to teach people and to get people mad about how guns aren't working in video games how they should be, and we should change that and rise up and look at Tom Clancy games and stuff like that. What have you. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. If I listed anything as a mistake that's not a mistake, or if I missed some mistakes, let me know in the comments. I can annotate some stuff in. Maybe even if I make enough mistakes, make a whole new video. So, let me know. And I will hope you join me for, my next episode. See you later.